Alrighty then. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good day to you, my fellow mayoral types. Hey everybody, it's Josh again. You are back on my channel. I want to say thank you very much for that. Don't forget to give me that like and subscribe, like a werewolf addicted to social media. Alright, here's a thingy. Several thingies. Um, I took a little bit and actually looked at this to make out a plan because there's a lot that I want to do, but only so much time and space to do it in. Um, I am not a Time Lord. I wish I was. Would make life a lot easier. Would actually have time to do things. But what I can tell you is that I have looked at a few different concerns that I have as we develop our downtown. First and foremost, I have a habit of just going, oh, look, downtown, buildings everywhere, buildings all the way, and not really doing a lot of green space and not saying, here's an apartment complex. They might actually want to have, a quarter block of parkland. There, does that happen in real life? Not a lot. Usually, when we talk about cities, we look at institutions that are, and I say institution for a reason. You look at institutions and entities that have been in existence for hundreds of years. You look at New York City, you look at Italy, you look at London. These are places that have existed forever. Cities, again, typically don't just appear, and land value becomes really, really high as more and more people want to move in, and it interferes with a lot of different things. So you don't get a case where you can have multiple parks. You don't have a place where you have a skyscraper and it's got, a wide green space in front of it for the people who live there to frolic or whatever. You get a skyscraper and you get a subway network right beside it. Um, so that's actually problem number one. We don't have a subway network. We're going to want to consider one at some point. We don't have a tram line running through here. I haven't really made room for it. I've got a semi solution in my head, but it's going to pose some difficulties. Since we don't have room for it, we're going to have to go over the roads. And I want to avoid situations that I constantly run into with trams where the lines get bugged for whatever reason and they don't develop properly. So we're actually going to be doing over the road tram lines. This is going to be something we are going to try in this episode. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. Um, but wherever we do them, we're going to have to make sure that we've got all of our road networks installed the way we want them, because sometimes the nodes in this game get really, really, really glitchy. So we're just gonna leave it at that. That's gonna be a second halfer. Um, we only have about 3 mil in the bank right now, and I want to develop this area with a Ferris wheel, and we can't afford that. Then finally, the main thing that we're going to be saving up for next is I want to buy basically all of these tiles right over here because, whoops, wrong button. Looking pretty much like a good chunk of that mess, which is going to be a good chunk of money. Um, because this is where our international airport's going to have to go. It's going to be the main thing. If unless we just go with the standard cargo airport, which can also handle passengers, but feels like I'd be doing this region a disservice if I did that. Um, that's it. That's the flattest place we've got, and it's still a mountain. The only other viable option is to buy up these tiles, which would be a lot cheaper, stick it up here. And that is very doable. So that's option two. This is option one. I want to do option one so that we have direct access out here, and if I want to get fancy, put a city out here along this side. It would be a center transit hub for everything, and less likely to upset all the people who live in the skyscrapers over here. So we're gonna keep that in mind. I'm gonna unpause. What I need to do right now is to focus on building in these areas. I want this to be a mix of office and residential. Only problem is we actually have a decent unemployment rate going on right now. You may say that that's a good thing, and it sort of is, because it means we have plenty of jobs, and that's going to increase our residential demand. Sort of a bad thing because I wanted to turn all this into office space, and if jobs don't want to come here because there's, no people to work them, that's going to slow us down. And our homeless population is getting a little bit high up again. And again, that's just a result of not having enough houses. So let's work on tackling some of these problems and let's work on getting some monuments built up in here that are going to make a difference with our skyline, with the way things are set up, and what we can go do about it from here. Well, the first thing that I'm going to do is put in the Stylus Tower. I was looking, it's one of those buildings that I really like the looks of. And I think it'll fit pretty well while it is an office building. Really quick, office efficiency, interest, university, education, well-being, etc. The usual. Should fit in without any complaints over here behind our medical center. Now, it's not a huge boost to the area, but it is something. Then I want to get some dense residential. We'll just come over here, go down. I'll use the Chinese style high density housing. And I'm just going to fill in 2 or 3 small block edges. All right, and that's just to start adding extra people, getting them pulled into the city. Up here, closer to the highway, I'm going to go ahead and install some medium density. Now for this, I really want to keep the apartment style complex idea going. I think the medium density housing from the Japanese pack really does a good job of that. I'm also going to put in some, well, instead of putting in green space, let's just go ahead and straight up put in a park up here. Hedge Park's pretty big, Funtime Complex. I think the multi-purpose park would be great. Let's see how many squares it takes when we lay it that way. Or snap off. They're just doing that. Send that poor orange truck right there off into oblivion. And we'll just fling a small alley behind all of this. Oh, are you kidding me? Well, that broke that office building and did not give me time to fix it. That was rude. Huh. Well, that sucked, but okay. Alright, the game do be gaming. A little bit of medium right there, and then we'll fill in that square. Then I think, since that's, you know what, that is right next to a highway on and off ramp. What do we have in commercial that would fit there really well? Do we have any more? We do. We've got a, well, I don't want to save the gas station. I feel like a large gas station down here in this intersection would make a lot of sense. Then right up there beside that one, not that. was kind of looking for something that would fit really nice next to a main entranceway up here. Not that. It's too nice. Maybe not. Okay, so these medium density Japanese style buildings, this would still give anybody living through here a great view of the grass and the hills surrounding the city, and it wouldn't be too much of a bog on our main incoming traffic, I don't think. Then right behind them, we can do just a little bit of low rent. So let's look for our low rent housing. Pushed up against the highway. And then to couple with that, we'll go ahead and slip in another elementary school. Oh, that's huge. It's also huge. Slip in just a hair of low density housing right there. And it looks like we've got a single line right there that's not going to be developed. Use our line tool, spruce trees. Or no, maybe not that. Why don't we come over here to small parks? It's wide. Canopy. There we go. And then on this highway segment, swing over to advanced road tools. And push in that sound barrier. A little safer for the kids too. It's not letting me put it all the way down here because of that intersection, so there we'll use our trees. Get our doesn't really do anything, just makes me feel a little safer. Then I'm going to put in something that I haven't done yet. We've got this extra open space right here. Why don't we slip in here, come over here to our tools for tile surface. Because part of what I'm doing is I'm giving time to let traffic develop and fill in where it's supposed to without completely freaking the entire game out. And I'm trying not to build absolutely everything all the way at once. A good way to eat up time with something like that is just to do some basic Very, very basic prop placing. Now, since I'm using vanilla and not using mods, my props are significantly less than what you would see if somebody was using like dev mode or anarchy or anything like that. And for that, I am sorry. I kind of wish I was, but I do like doing these videos without using mods just so people can see get some ideas of what you can do in vanilla. And I am by no means a master builder. I'm just somebody who likes to play this game, realize that my computer can usually handle streaming, and I am something of, I love getting attention. So we'll just leave it like that. So if I can do something to entertain people while I'm also trying to relax, I'm going to call that a win. Okay, by no means is that an attractive mini park. It serves no purpose whatsoever. It's just something to see and something to look at. All right, right down here. I can't do anything about this. This is because we just zoned in all of this stuff. We zoned it in, people are moving in, they're happy, they're stuck up in traffic. This is actually moving a lot smoother than what I would normally expect, so I'm not going to complain. I'm curious where all of these people are going, though. Let's take a quick look. Okay, good, and that's why it's moving so smoothly. As the people who are coming off of here, they're cutting through town like I wanted them to. Perfect. Okay. Now, over here, we do have this train station. We don't have a lot beside it. Let's fill it in with some low density businesses. I'm going to use the northeast style ones for them. I think that's going to have a pretty solid look. I'll eat up our commercial demand right there for a moment. Then I'll go ahead and run some more apartments down. Do I run apartments down this way? Yeah, I don't see why not. All right, so that's an 8-lane intersection all the way across, and I do not need that to be an 8-lane right here. I need that to get around that power line. And because I don't know what that power line does right off the top of my head, we're just going to delete it while we're on pause. Is that roughly 90? There we go. Use that 4-lane, make that a 90-degree. And then just for... Did I not? Okay, I do have a power transformer right there. Okay. Does that put off pollution? Low levels of noise pollution. Okay. All right. Low levels of noise pollution we can work with. So let's go ahead and get our medium density housing again. And then right here, we'll fill this in with mixed use, commercial and medium density. And then down here, we'll go ahead and I'm going to slip in a block of high density residential coming right down through there. This area kind of screams at me that it could use a school. Oh, add a road, completely annihilate everything. Weird game logic. All right, so back behind here, let's high school, high school, high school. Community elementary, urban, Mediterranean. I sort of feel like with such a large structure back here, this almost demands to have a larger elementary school. This is going to delete some of those new medium density developments, but we'll live. Okay, that's serving Brook End. Now that doesn't upgrade, so that is what it is. And I'm even gonna come over right behind it, right beside this facility, and we're gonna slip in a bunch of low density residential. This supposedly doesn't create any pollution at all, so whether or not it does, I don't know. But all right, we've installed all that. We're going to give the sim a chance to update itself, reconfigure, get demand, not choke out, put the speed up on 3 so we can hurry through this. Let's take a look. There's a couple of things I want to install, like this Neo Barracks. It seems like a really kind of cool downtown-esque park complex that I think would fit really well somewhere right in through here. And we do have some larger sports complexes we haven't put around. Okay, so game, set, match. Mini golf, paddle courts, dining area. I can see you coming off of the highway to go to someplace like this. I can see this being near a highway intersection in real life. And where's our closest diverging diamond? Right here. And then maybe on the far side coming around through here, because this is probably going to be medium and low density residential. Slipping a community pool over here beside the river, because we don't really have any community pools. And I'm going to be honest with you, going to the pool in the summer is one of my favorite things. Like I am counting down the days until my city pool opens up. So I'm going to stretch really quick because I really have to, because I've had a very long weekend. You heard my shoulder snap. I'm sorry. If you felt my shoulder snap, first of all, why are you touching me? Second of all, I felt my shoulder snap and ow. Okay, so these are coming in nicely. Our residential demand has been met. Let's go ahead and tick off our residential demand a little bit more. We're going to go over here. I'm going to dig out another high density residential. Maybe a meat. Let's see what we got. These condos look nice. So the Watanabe Tower is this super sleek, super, I mean, just look at it. This is a very strong building. Halo Heights is pretty close to it. It's not as tall as the observation tower. Waveform tower takes up a lot more room. Still looks pretty cool. Uh, this will destroy our high density demand right now, which is already kind of wiped out. Colossal Tower is not as big as you would think. I don't know why they call it Colossal Tower. I mean, I'm certain I know why they call it Colossal Tower, but Colossal Order and all that. So we do have the UK City Apartments, which strikes me as something that you might see down over here near the financial sector, or even over here near this mess. What is that building? That is a hearse garage. Okay. Like, for some reason, this sort of makes me think of just an apartment complex that you would just see strolling through downtown. In fact, I'm certain I have apartment complexes like this in my downtown. So let's not put this here. Let's look instead. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and address this with Halo Heights, but I do not want to have it facing this 8 lane. I absolutely do not want that to happen. I want it on the other side of the 8 lane, because if we have it facing directly here, the traffic that it's going to create is just going to be ridiculously sick. And that's not a good sick. It's a walking pneumonia kind of sick. Oh, I'm off by a square. Are you kidding me? It'll fit sideways. I did not want it to fit in sideways. Okay, hang on. We can fix this. We'll go to replace. Then we're going to take our snap to existing geometry off. I'm going to get my first road where I want it. I'm going to check to make sure that's, nope, not enough. Stretch it by another square. We'll see if that's enough. That's enough. Then instead of trying to manually adjust all of that, we'll delete it. There, got a road exactly the right length we need it now, and width. We can stack this so that we've got this lined up directly with the financial center all the way in the background. I think, though, if I was a developer for either of these, I would hunt me down and do terrible things in my front yard if an opposing developer did that. So I'm going to stick it offset to the side a little bit. And then we're going to double check to make sure that is the right entrance. There it is. Okay, so this can pack in, sheesh, 2,000 households. Sheesh. Okay, well, there goes our high density demand. Forever. In like 6 weeks. Okay. I'm going to do that. I'll leave that there for a second. What I don't like, though, we have a problem along this. We need to recover the zoning. This is going to be a multi-step solution. The first thing we're going to do is protect, then fill, then delete, and then we're going to cross our fingers and see if that works. Yeah, that's better. Live with that. But in places where it won't go all the way, we are going to dezone those. This is sort of a mix of letting the game decide and then letting us decide. Don't know if that'll fill in or not. And then for a couple of these, we're going to come over to our small parks. See what I have. That's 3 squares wide, not a lot. Do I have anything that's 3 squares wide? Huh, I guess not. Okay, so we have the playground. That's 3 squares wide. That'll fit right there. Activity playground. I want our tiny city park to fill in right there. Wide pocket park there. Go ahead and fill in. There we go. Here's the use of green space that I want. We've got building, park, building, park, building, parks, building, parks, all the way down here. This is great. Ignore this. They're complaining that they don't have enough customers. And they don't have enough customers because we don't have enough tourists. That's just all there is to it. One thing I am going to go ahead and fix now, because this is just going to irk me to no idea, is we're going to go ahead and get rid of street level parking on this whole road. Done. Now, because I am not a complete jerk, almost use a impolite word there. The impolite word is more accurate. This will actually get rid of the trees, unfortunately. Or will it? Huh. Because we put the trees there, it won't. That's weird. Hang on. Let's undo our treeness. There we go. Parking or trees, apparently we can't have both. That would make sense. Traffic jam. As people are coming in and out. Okay, well, deal. All right, so now we've got this huge open space over here. We've got a signature building down. Let's come back and look at our parks again. Those are tourist traps, excuse me. Way too big. We set the game set match over here, didn't we? Yeah, we did. And we already installed the Neo Barracks, which is good. So the Color Plaza, basketball court, playground, gym, all those fun things. Yeah, right there, right next to this plaza. Or better. Actually, let me move this. I think it should fit right there. And then what did I see that I was thinking of? So we're going to put two fountain plazas side by side right there. And if we are lucky, we are not that lucky, we'll have that running all the way across. And since these should connect with a walking path, come on, game, you heard what I said. Should connect with the walking paths. Then we're going to make this whole section walkable as well. But not allow a crosswalk to go there. Actually, I take that back. I do want a crosswalk to go there because now... So try telling me that it would not be amazing to live in Waveform Tower across from the largest bank in the whole county, maybe even the whole seaboard, and then be able to not only walk across the street to get access to all this heavy commercial, but be right next to to the observation tower, lets you see the rest of the city that you can't see, or walk all the way down to the Museum of Modern Art. I think that would be a spectacular experience. So we can do all that. Then we're going to come over, we're going to come to our administrative buildings because we don't really have any over here. And I think we can get away with placing a small city hall. Maybe it's not going to fit just by hair. Shoot. We can't put it up there. Won't fit over there where that bus depot is. We've got all that parking there, so it won't fit there. Hmm. And right there, that's in water. What about the Eastern European style? Still as big? Still as big. Okay, so the Japanese city office, though, will fit. -1 low interest. Is that all these offer? Yeah. Or it could fit right over here, but we'd lose that pedestrian walkway path. But I think that shouldn't be a problem. This would be a very good spot for it. So very seat of power-ish. What did that additional do? Ooh, the extension wing for that. I forgot that that does that. Minus 5% building leveling cost citywide and plus 5% city attractiveness. One, the attractiveness should drive more tourists. Two, that reduced building cost is going to mean that our buildings are going to level up faster, making us more money, making the city better. Just, yeah, all things get sort of linked into that. So that is a good play. So we'll still go ahead though and connect, but we are going to make sure that we're not creating an intersection right there. Oh, that's... Why did you do that? Is that lot flat there? It's not flat by like half a meter, maybe. That was strange. Okay, and now it's fixed. All right. You know, I hate to do it, but there's something that would fit. If it fits, it'll be perfect. And that would be Passage Park, which will not fit. Okay, never mind. So yeah, having this here should make a significant difference. And then that means over here we're going to put in some offices, but I'm going to go ahead and make sure that they are low density. And then just a small section of low density commercial right there. Just to sort of fill that in. And right here as well. And look at that. We have got a gorgeous, gorgeous downtown section now built. Just a downtown square that I absolutely love with. Okay, how are we doing on time? We've been doing this for about 45 minutes this morning, so I'm going to take a second and take a drink. Okay, so I really like how all of this filled in with our medium density Japanese style houses. And take a look at how these really come in, because we haven't done a lot of these. They just look, they look so beautiful. This is one of my favorite asset packs. And I even like the white roofs on them. I know some other people don't, but it makes it feel clean to me. It makes it look clean, and I like that. Of course, I do like it more when I can zoom in, but this is a limitation on my end, not on the game's engine end. Okay. Um, I do have this territory up here that I'm not fond of by the rail tracks. Let me slip in some low density, or low rent, not low density, low rent housing. We'll go with the... Go ahead and still use the Chinese asset pack for that. Right through there. And then on the other side of this, we'll use mixed use commercial. And then to fill in this section right over here, we'll grab some Chinese style high density office. That should fit in right there. Excuse me. Cool. I'm happy with that. We'll still have to fill in more stuff over here. But I think that's, yeah, that takes away our office demand, our high density demand, and our medium density demand, and almost all of our commercial demand. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing I'm not happy about over here. Um, there's one more thing that I think would make a slight difference, not too major. So let's go ahead and slip in a couple of these kindergartens. We'll slip one in right over there. Oh, if that'll fit right there, that's lovely. And then we're going to make sure that we have one over here near this low rent area. It's going to be pretty close to the highway, but I don't think that can be really avoided. Well, right there. There, that should be okay. And I said kindergarten. It's more of a, well, it's called a kindergarten. I'm calling it a daycare. Don't want to put it right next to the um, crematorium though, for reasons. May not have a choice, but for reasons. We also don't have any welfare offices over here, and I was hoping that the city hall would solve some of that, but it's not. The Citizen Service Center has got a pretty wide footprint, but it's pretty solid at what it does. The Eastern European office is much smaller. The Japanese one is a good mix between the two. So I'm going to actually put in the Citizen Service Center, the larger one, over here. That's going to have a lot of coverage. We can slip it right there, right next to that curve of the rail line. It won't solve everything. Then over here, we'll slip in a couple of Eastern European welfare offices if we have to. We'll just tuck it right in there close to the river and the bridge. And then this area says it could use another one too. So let's go ahead and do that. I honestly do not know what kind of effect these have on gameplay. I'm assuming there's a positive effect, but I really don't know. We haven't saved in a while. Let me fix that before I regret it and hate myself. Okay, so far, so very happy, very excited. What's our education look like? Could be a lot worse. We don't have a college over here. This was something I sort of wanted to have running in the back of my mind. I know I said we were going to work on the tram line. I think the tram is going to be so difficult that I'm going to want to work on that on my offline time. I feel like I'm going to be deleting a lot of stuff and pushing stuff back in, and I don't want you guys to sit through that. So let me consider putting that one on the back burner. I'll have some extra time this afternoon to work on that for our next video. As a quick reminder, today is May the 12th for me. When will you see this? I don't know. I suspect probably in April. I'm going to start uploading these videos soon. I know I've been saying that for a couple weeks, but honestly, guys, I have been so busy the last couple weeks. It ain't been funny. Um, so there's entirely possible the new DLC will have dropped by then. I don't know. We'll find out. While I'm doing this, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all that other fun stuff, because it would help in a long run. Okay, so Modern Community College is a pretty nice substructure. Does it have upgrades? This does have a sports field that can be attached to it, and a sports field would be great if we had room for one. The only viable places we have that would handle a sports field would be up off here or over here. Now, I intend for this to be very heavy residential. This is going to be urban sprawl. So that is definitely something to keep in mind for our positioning. And I think if we keep that in mind, we can say it would, is this a 6 or a 4? Hmm. Hmm. All right, so there's no intersection here off of the highway. There's going to need to be one. We're going to need to build that in. I'm plotting in my head, guys. That's dangerous. Diverging diamond, diverging diamond. road network cutting through there. Whoa, hello. You know, first, I'm going to say I'm proud of myself for not saying bad words because, yeah, that was a bad word moment. And I should get bonus points for not saying those bad words on stream because I should. Well, that's going to slow me down over there. All right, we've got enough money. We'll get back to the college problem in a little bit. Why are you complaining about trash? Are you not covered under our district? You are not covered under our district. I need you to be covered under our district. You are now covered under our district. Now, let's hope our recycling plant sends someone down for you. Okay. But at least now we have enough money. We can go ahead and develop a couple more things that I wanted to put in. This is going to be under parks. This is going to be under tourist attraction. Why is it under tourist attraction? This is going to be under landmarks, apparently. So if we stick it right here, we have a problem because there is a giant crematorium right there. And I think we're just going to have to accept that there is a giant crematorium right there. Now, where would really be a good spot? I really would like it to be here on the coastline. But I don't want to push in too far. I think this is going to require some landscaping. This is going to require some aggressive landscaping. Okay, so we're going to take our flattening tool. We're going to wish the sun had stayed out longer. And we're going to start fussing with a lot of stuff. All right, we're going to use this pedestrian bridge as our guide. Well, not pedestrian bridge, but pedestrian pathway. And it's entirely possible that by the time we get done developing this, we'll have enough money to buy all the tiles we need for our international airport. I would like to tell you that I'm kidding, but I am not. Okay, so far so good. So far so very good. I'm gonna go ahead and place it while I fuss around. So I'm leveling this out to whatever height that Ferris wheel is on right now. Oh, it's telling me this is an overlapping item because of that bridge right there. That's why. You know what? Honestly, that is not bad so far. It's coming out a lot faster than I was expecting. Okay, so we've got that built, that direction, that way, that side. So far, so spectacular. But not good forever. There was a song I used to listen to growing up. I can't think of the name on it. It was off the old Mega Man music CD, and I was very disappointed when Kid Me conned his mom and grandma into buying that CD because I was expecting, songs based on Mega Man. Instead, we got stuff like Iron Mick. Uh, yeah, disappointing days as a child. Um, but there was one song on it, and the lyrics are basically, so far, so good, so what for? I'm actually going to listen. It was not Megadeth. Maybe it was Megadeth. No, it was Civ. Civ. Yeah, okay. I'm like, no, that's not Megadeth. And that's sort of how I feel right now. It's just so far so good. So what? Okay. Whoops, that's wrong. How did I do? What did I do? That made a quay automatically somehow. Somehow I got that to quay. All right, we're not gonna be angry about that. One bridge line is already done. Yay us! Decrease the brush size pretty significantly. So the goal here is to try to cut that in half as best as we can. Like there are a dozen different ways you can do quiz. I'm probably doing the hardest way. I've tried the easier ways, and I just cannot get them to work reliably well for me. It's just one of those things that takes a significant amount of time, and it's something that's supposed to get an update with the DLC drop. So by the time you're watching this, you may be going, dude, what is wrong with you? Which is a valid question. Which is a valid question. There's a lot of people who have asked that over the years. Because by then it simply may not matter anymore. Like those two citizens walking on air. Well, we have part of it, and part of it's good. So let me save really quick because if this crashes after I got that partially fixed, I'm going to be a very sad panda. Perfect. Nailed and it. And we do have zoning on that side. We do not have zoning on this side. Shoot. Part of why we don't have zoning is because there is that dip right there. I'm going to try. I shouldn't have deleted that. This is the fastest I've ever installed a Quay series. I am not kidding. Usually this takes me an hour. And if you've seen me do it on other parts of the city, you know that I'm not kidding. Oops. Do you want to level this out right through there? Right down there. I had 1 second when that was working right. Okay, that is glitching out something's fantastical. That is not supposed to do that right there. And now that's flooded. Try this again. What in the world does this game think is going on right here? Actually, I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to be too worried about putting a concrete quay wall right there. I think the dirt is going to be fine. Might come back later and do something like rocks or boulders or something along that. But honestly, I'm super happy with how this came out so super quickly. Let's fix up our intersections up here before we forget to. Yeah, I genuinely don't think that could have come out better if I had tried. Okay, spectacular. Just absolutely spectacular. This is going to take a lot of deco. We're going to plop a bunch of buildings down over here. We've earned a buttload of money because look, we're already back over 10 mil right now, and we are earning almost $500,000, half a mil an hour, which is spectacular. Again, let me save one more time. Then I'm going to see how long we've been doing this video. By that, I mean I will tab out and see that we've been on for about an hour, hour 10. Okay, so that means it's just about time to wrap up. Um, but just about time to wrap up does not mean it is time to wrap up. So let's see what else can or should go in this area. First of all, how busy is this? It's not very. We have a train station, but no real reason to come to it. Obviously, though, we've got a harbor, we've got the Ferris wheel. Those are blocks away. But you can relatively just as easily get to them by driving. Um, what happened up here? Ew. People happened. Ouch. Well, it's things like this that can temporarily mess up traffic in your city, and just you have to pay attention to where the problem actually is before you can do anything. Okay, we've got all this open space over here, and we are missing a couple of pretty solid education buildings. We built our technical building. We can put down a second technical building if we so were inclined to, but we haven't put down a medical university yet. We only have one of those. I don't know why we get two technical, but one medical. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. Unless I'm completely mistaken. No. All right, so this is a big building, though. Uh, and that said, it's big, it's long, it's wide, it's got the same footprint of the disease control center. I would almost like to have it over here. In fact, I would like to have it over here so much that I think this is where it's going to go. Something like Riverside Medical University, a name, something along those lines, would make it an attractive addition to our city. So let's line it up as close to that river as we can. Or we can slip it over here, but this is going to make a lot of road headaches. We're going to have to address how our roadway network connects over here, anyways. But you could literally hop on a train over in Hawthorne Heights over here, and wherever our train station is over here. You could hop into the Mediterranean train station, then go all the way through the city and come down here to the medical university. Um, kind of feel like that would be something really awesome that you could do. You could do a very nice train trip for students coming in to go to school, coming around. And while it will cost us some money, it'll improve the quality of life for everybody in town. We do have some overlapping items, so we're going to have to pause, address these as best as we can. I want to go ahead and preemptively see if we keep running that 4 lane down through here, how far does it take us? Not quite far enough. And I don't really want to. Well, we could interrupt the flow of that river just a little bit if we cut the edge off of it right there. Let me do that with speed on to make sure that I'm not hitting something terrible. says it's in water. We can all tell that it's not. Now, then, if you missed why I wanted the medical university, just write off 10% hospital efficiency and minus 25% recovery failures citywide on both. This is not a huge deal. Our city health is our city health. We've taken as many steps as we can to make sure it's the best health it can be. Unfortunately, though, it's very, very hard to get it above 60%. I don't know why. Feels like a unintentional. I don't want to go as far as to say a forced error, but you know, a thing that we just sort of have to live with a little bit. Now, this does come with some upgrades. Extension wing increases capacity for more students. Normally, I would jump all over this, but it takes away that beautiful park right there, and I don't think I'm going to. All right, then we have an additional extension wing, which I actually like, the practice clinic. Citizens near the university can be treated here to improve their health. Plus, the research wing comes up, and this thing, it looks so cool. I forgot about it, honestly. Oh, it's overlapping with that stupid power line. And of course, that's overlapping with those power lines as well. Okay, so not only do we have a hospital complex here, we've also increased the general given and a well, we have a hospital and now we've improved the quality of life for our whole city. So this is a very good thing. We're gonna just delete all these lines really quick. They connect to that power line right there. There. We can remap those later as we see fit. Then let's go ahead back over here to this thing. I do want to put in a couple more research facilities. I love the look of them so much. And this extra medical clinic, it's not going to have any viable need, but I do just like it. Gonna stick in a how big is our large plaza? Large plaza right in front. And then I'm gonna redesign this just a hair. Overlapping items. What is it overlapping? Power line. Oops. We unevened that. Let's fix that. Okay, pretty awesome medical university right down here. I think this should fit the needs of our citizens very well. But it is a university, and almost made a... You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say it is a university, so it's a great place to put in a football field, study those, traumatic brain injuries, likes of which I actually have. Concussions are fun. All right, so we're just going to leave it at that. But instead of football, we're going to put in soccer. All right, so we got a soccer field. We'll slip in a... Let's see. One of these is a new sports complex. Got room for the basketball center back here as well. You can fit like right there. Okay, now we've got a set of 4. That's a 4. Okay, so what does this 4-lane connect to? 4-lane actually connects to the harbor. Unless I move this plaza, I can't conveniently turn that into a 6-lane. But you know what? I am going to try. I think I'd like the idea of this being a 6-lane connector right there a little bit more than I do anything else. So we're going to do a whole bunch of hard work here. Maybe scooted over a little too far. Okay, this is going to be expensive to move, but we'll have to deal with it. Fixed. There we go. Bring that back in line. Now we have our 6-lane, and wow, doesn't this looks like a perfect place for a small junction coming right up in here. Okay, though, I feel like that's a future me problem. Does this put out any pollution? Noise pollution, medium noise pollution. So any hope I had of putting residential right there is out, but French style high density offices is entirely in. As well as let's go over here to our office buildings. The round office. Situated right off to the side would be pretty spectacular. And then we'll come over here as well, and we're going to so this is kind of small for a commercial building. So I think it's a little bit too small. Really need pubs and restaurants. Don't want a supermarket right here. However, an espresso shop next to a college would make all the money. What's this building right here? Basketball center. Oh, yeah, an espresso shop right next to basketball center. All the money. Absolutely all the money. All right, we'll fill in with a little bit more of Southwest style commercial, flanking that through. But let's go ahead and drag this walking path out a little bit. Delete some of the new buildings coming in, of course. Yeah, I think that should fill in everything really nicely. Then we'll come over here and I want to go ahead and grab will you go ahead and use some more of the Mediterranean style housing, I think. Well, not as what you know what? No. No, I don't want to. I let me pause. There's a housing type that I prefer to use whenever I do something like this, and that's going to be the medium density French row housing. And it's just a case where it fits in so well. Really gives that dormitorium or dormitorium. That is that the right word? No, this really nice dorm style look. Um, and I'll slip in an elementary school over here as well. Turn this just into a straight up educational campus style area as soon as I can find a spot for it. Okay, I've had it. I'm going cheap. Just go underground, and we're gonna call it. Oh, we're out of district. That's Mediterranean middle. Oh, one mistake I'm making that I see right now. I forgot about this train station right here. Uh-huh. That would be bad. Let's try to fix this up as much as we can right now. Overlapping items. What are we overlapping with? Okay, and of course that means we won't have room to stick that high school right there. But that's okay. I'd rather lose a high school access than not be able to run a rail. So we can fix the lack of high school access by running a walking path down, coming over to the high school, placing it there, upgrading it, setting it right there. And then, because I just don't really like the way that that's shaping up, add a walking path right down there. Do I have enough room to squeeze a walking path in through here? No, it doesn't look like it. Can if I scoot this over just a hair. Of course, instead of a walking path, if I stick it in right there, what I can put in is a pedestrian street, and we can zone in the back of that. So let's do that. Let's get rid of that stoplight. That unnecessary bit of pedestrian walkway. Okay, we'll leave this line as a walking pass. Over. Just use our filler tool. And grab a basketball court. That's a skate park. Grab a basketball court and a skate park. We'll slip in a hair of low density housing right through here. All right, now right across from this train station, let's give it one more destination to visit, and we're going to use a commercial building. I would like to install Corner Theater. Oceanarium. Those are largely tall buildings and hotels. Okay, so the Shard Arena, I was thinking about putting over here anyways, and what this is, just take a look. Um, esport arena, and it strikes me as something that you would see near a university in a near downtown area. So I was kind of thinking of it right about in here. We could just cut across and have it close to all of that, and then we can fill this in with some medium density and some high rises. Or we can grab something like, see, that's a heritage museum, multi-screen cinema. It's not very big or wide. Auto center, car garage. Um. Oh, the lobster tail. That's something that I feel would need to be next to the harbor. Uh, as a, just as a restaurant near the harbor. And we can put it over here down next to that quay wall and pier thing we set up. That'll be a good space for that. Um, I don't know. I feel like something needs to come over here, something impressive. Something that would make people go, hey, I want to go to the Cinevista. Let's take the train down to it. I want to go to the Nitro Esports Hub. So let's take our, and then this will wrap us up for the day. That's close enough. Just box that in completely. And then behind it, we'll fill this in with parks. So those are 2 square parks. So I know, will tiny parks fit? No, there's a 3. It's afraid of that. And for some reason, that's being aggressively weird. Take off snapping. Snapping back on. Still being weird. Snapping off. Yeah, it's just being weird. All right, we can fix that as well. Come over here to our, what it calls the surfaces tool. Target the surface used by this park. And then just stretch it out, fill that in. There. Now you can even tell it wasn't supposed to be that way. All right, I am happy with that. So what does this give us anyways? An extra percent of attractiveness, plus 2% entertainment, plus 3 well-being, and plus 40 entertainment need. Okay, cool. Well, 2% entertainment citywide. All right, use the right words, Joshua. Use the right words. Words have meaning. Okay. Wow. We built a university. We've done a lot today, guys. Let's take a quick check on this. We've built a university campus. We've enhanced the interest in the local train station. We started a very solid waterfront down here. As I started, because we're not done, but we got the hard work part of it done, with exception of that spot right there. We populated our city pretty heavily with brand new high density and office, residential and office alike. We put in a bunch of low rent up through here. We reworked this part a little bit. We added a second waterfront over here, complete with a city hall and the waveform tower. We dropped some more education buildings. We kind of gave ourselves a plan to put a college in up here. Um, I'm I'm very pleased. This is a lot more that we've gotten done than I was expecting to accomplish today. So if you stuck with me for this whole episode, thank you very much. I actually had a blast. I've had a very long weekend. I've got a lot of paperwork I have to do today because of my long weekend. It was a good weekend. Don't get me wrong. We did a lot of fundraising this weekend, but it took it out of me. 3 days of 12-hour days. Oh, bite me. Heaven forbid we put it in an intersection. Um, with the exception of that incident. Ooh, wait, we can fix that. Fix this. We can make this even better. Okay, so we're gonna blow up a bunch of houses. Only one house? Okay. There we go. That's better. Cool. All right. That'll make it easier to get to the train station. And that'll make people leaving the train station have an easier time of it. And I'm all in favor of doing things like that. I think we should even be okay leaving that as a 2-lane. We really want to get spiffy though. Make that a 4-lane with parking. Except for right there. I don't want people parking right there. I do want people to be able to walk across it. Sorry, I had this idea. Now my brain is stuck with it. You'll have to forgive me. That looks reasonable. Okay. All right. Anyways, as I was trying to say before I really interrupted myself, we got a lot done today, and I hope you've enjoyed this build. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how this has come along. Um, don't really have much more to add to that other than by saying my name is Josh. Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Men Streaming in lovely, beautiful, happy-go-lucky Imini Bay. All right, I will see you guys on the next video, or technically you'll be hearing me on the next video. I won't be seeing you. I'm not that kind of creepy person. I'm creepy in entirely different ways. Ladies and gentlemen, you all have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Until later. Boy, I went overtime big time, didn't I? My bad. Bye for now.